want to tell you a little bit about Matt, right? You saw his name on the top of the plane all the time, and it's, oh, they give this guy. Here's what I love about this man. In your life, you're going to meet good people, and you're going to meet good salespeople. A lot of times, they seem like they've got to come at the cost of one another, right? One thing in summer sales that I think that is a temptation sometimes in general. We don't teach that, we don't go that way. I love that about our industry, is that there's not a whole lot of ways to mislead people about pest control, but there still are ways and things that you can do to play in that gray area when people ask certain questions or when certain concerns come up. What I love about not only the production that Matt had, but the way it was done and the type of person he is. And if you don't have the pleasure to know him, let me just tell you that again, obviously the numbers prove this dude's a great salesman, but he's a great man. And when you've got a good person that can still have this type of production done the right way, I'll just say that I don't know of anyone better in the industry sincerely. There's only a handful of people that have sold over 1,000 accounts. In the last number of years, I do think that the industry's gotten more saturated, and there's more competition for door-to-door salesmen. It happens less and less. Last couple of years, there's really one person that I think legitimately can say they've done that. There's another company out there with a guy that says they did it. I won't mention any names after, but there's a whole difference there. 6 months and those contract values, giving 2 services away for free to get over this hump is a lot different than when you do it for real. This is for real. 4.5 months, highest, one of in the top 10 of contract value in our company, selling it the right way. His cancellations will be in the lowest 10% of the company. His contract value in the highest 10%, including a pay ratio. And just the sacrifice that was made to do this was incredible, including having little Rixton over there hold him up in the middle of the summer and taking the time to be with his family, yet still pushing through to make that happen. The reason I like Matt to talk is I think you're going to realize that besides his stunning good looks, I think Matt works to get these sales. There's not some ninja mind voodoo trick personality trait or slick talking, fast talking. I don't think there's a thing that he does that can't be replicated if the desire, time, and effort were there. So again, appreciate him being here, giving us some time, answering some the questions we had for him, information we asked him to share. Give him the respect to pay attention, and without further ado, we'll ask Mr. Matt Stewart to come up here and share a few words of wisdom. Dude, is that the worst when you time the walk wrong, honestly? All right? It happens at church all the time. And I'm not saying any particular church, we're a non-denominational company, but at my church, I have the opportunity to sit up on the stand and watch people. And the funniest thing, this has nothing to do with this talk, by the way, but my favorite thing is to watch people try to time them coming up to the song, right? So you sing a song before a prayer at my church, and people are going to say the prayer, always trying to time their walk up during the song. And they're always, dude, when you nail it, there's nothing better. There's no better feeling than right when the song ends, you're right up to the pulpit, right there. But it is so funny when you see people time it wrong, because either they're way behind schedule, so they start walking really fast, or even better is when they're ahead of schedule, so they're like, and start walking really slow. Matt was way off schedule there, way behind the times, and I don't want that to diminish this man. We didn't practice it, he wasn't aware of it. I know that was horrible timing. Please still pay attention to what he has to say. Thank you.
Alrighty. So part of the walk coming up here, you never know when Shannon's going to stop. You don't know when he's going to keep going. At this point in time, it's like you could go for 30 minutes, 10 more seconds. You really never know. So the last 4 times I've been into the office, they didn't talk to something. I clicked right. Got that. We actually just send Shandon away, and it's me and Tom. We seem to get a lot more done that way. But in all honesty, I'm grateful to be here. I try to fly pretty low so that I can get out of this kind of stuff. Usually works in church, and I don't have to talk too often. This is the first time I've had to do it here. So we'll see how it goes. And honestly, the only direction I've been given from Tom is how to do 1,000. So I'm going to share a few things that really, and I mean this in every way, can be duplicated. Like, I've talked to a lot of people about what I did, and nothing was special. We'll go through, what I feel is 2 aspects of it, but at the end of the day, the thing that I love about pest control in general is that anybody can be good at it. Just a little bit of history about myself, who I am and how I got here with Vantage. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown so that you can kind of understand a little bit about myself. I actually started in the door-to-door industry with Vivint, doing security. Did it for a few preseason stuff. I didn't go out for the summer. I just didn't feel good about the sale. That was me personally, not to say that the people who do it or whatever. I think that you can be very honest in whatever you do, but for me it didn't fit. I didn't like it. So then I next moved on to TV. Didn't do a summer program once again. I was just doing part-time on the side, weekends, that sort of stuff. In Salt Lake at the time I was going to the U. And then I had recently gotten married and came in contact with Kelton through Taylor Dutray. Both are here today. I'm grateful that I met with Kelton. First year I said, no man, take a hike, it's not right. So fast forward the clock 11, 12 more months ahead the following year, met with Kelton. I figured, man, if he's still around, like, he's not that shady, so he's still doing this. So I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a go. I did it. I'm really grateful I did. First summer, went out there, I did a half a summer, did about 200 accounts. Good summer, everything that was promised happened, which is rare sometimes. It's sad to say, but it wasn't one of those things where I tried to pull the wool over my eyes last second or back ends come and it's like, you're getting deducted here for this and this. It was just simple. So that, for me, I was like, yeah, let's do this again. It made enough improvements to make it worth it. Second summer, did about 600. That was 2 years ago. Did the full summer, jumped in, and then after the last summer, did 1,000. So it's pretty cool. It was a goal that we had set for a while, but I just want to start and read a quote. I tried to set up a slideshow, but as you can see from that picture, it was the red ball that really kind of pushed me through at times. So the quote is from Kobe Bryant. Whether you like him, whether you don't, doesn't matter, but you have to respect his greatness. It was a talk or a quick speech that he gave at the ESPYs, and this is what he said. He said, "We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger." So I think about Kobe, and he's 6'7", he's an athletic freak. He's got a lot of blessings that I personally don't have. And the sweet thing about it is, though, as I look in the NBA and I see the other players, there's guys that are taller than him, more athletic, stronger. And so it just proved a point that the work ethic that Kobe had is what got him the success that he had. And he continues, just says, just like Kobe, there are thousands of executives, leaders, sales managers, musicians, artists that have more talent than you and I. But at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to who has the most talent or intelligence. It comes down to those who are willing to make the choices that others are not willing to make. So it's pretty simple. And I'm just going to go over a few of the things. I broke this down into two parts. So this was the first like a half summer that I did. And I put on there things that I did first year versus second year versus third year that are actual kind of checklist type things that made a difference. As far as the hours knocked, by the time I got out of correlation my first summer, we kind of stick around, and it'd take us a while to get to where we needed to be. We weren't organized. And then we'd go out and knock for 2 hours. I'd take a full lunch. As you can see there, lunch was a priority. A matter of fact, Andrew was in my car. Andrew's a good friend of mine. I've knocked with him every year, and it's helped me out a lot. Hopefully he can say the same, but the first year, this is how pathetic we were. Like, in order to motivate us to get out there and work, the deal was that if we had one sale, we could go out somewhere to eat. We didn't have to eat our sandwiches that we packed. If we got 2 sales, it was about Baconators at Wendy's. So we'd get a Baconator, and then if we got like 3 sales before lunch, then it was a triple Baconator, 4, and so on and so forth. And that's the honest truth as far as the motivation and what it was the first summer. And so for us, lunch was a priority. Feel free to take it. I'm not one of those guys that say they skip lunch every day. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. But I did that every day, first summer. And then, of course, I read the manual. That was about it. I didn't do anything on the side. I didn't practice. When I went home, I didn't really, I would say, dedicate myself to the details of learning the things that we teach as far as like verbal, metaverbal communication and the verbiage of what to say. And those things do go a long way. You'll see here, if I can get this to work. By the way, I didn't even make this slideshow, which is sweet. Kelton helped me about 30 minutes ago. Otherwise, I'd be using this piece of paper. Yesterday, Christy helped me get onto Facebook and figure that out. So thank you, Christy and Kelton. So 600 accounts here. You can see I knock a little bit more, 7 to 8 hours a day, and then no lunch. Simple things. I walked between doors. It wasn't anything. I talked to Jeremy. He's like, "No, you got to run." I didn't run. Some people do. The verbiage is huge, though. So the verbiage of what you're going to say. Just a huge one for me. Don't ever say problems. Like, hey, your neighbors are having problems with a few of the ants. They're always having issues or activity rather than problems. That one thing made a big difference for me. So nobody's having problems because they don't want to admit that they're having an infestation. They don't want to be that guy on the block that has roaches in their kitchen. Just kind of nasty. So nobody will admit that they have a problem. The verbiage is huge. And everything is in the manual as far as the verbiage. The metaverbal is another thing that I practiced a lot. Like I would go in a little bit early and we would practice. I'd come home, I'd practice with my wife the metaverbal stuff as far as not what you say, but how you say it. People don't understand as far as how much of the sell, how much psychology really goes into influencing somebody to purchase something that they 10 seconds ago didn't know they wanted. And a big one is your eyes. So I figured, at least for me, eyes, body language, with your eye contact as you direct. And you manually probably seen, or you're going to see, for those of you who just got the manual today, you've seen the trucks, right? You nod your head. And then you, with your eyes, look away, and you point. You've seen the trucks, right? Those small things make a big, big difference. Another thing is as far as metaverbals, the distance that you are to the customer so that they don't feel pressured. As dumb as it sounds, like this is the door, I'd step back a little bit and literally, like I'm sideways, and you just turn your shoulders. Those small things matter, rather than standing like this. Hey, my name's Matt, I'm the bug guy. You've probably seen my trucks. Just stand sideways. Little tiny, tiny differences. So as far as that's concerned, you can see the verbiage. They're really small things that really go a long ways. The competitions, I took them seriously. We do a lot as a company, and we budget a lot of money for competitions to motivate, to help. Because let's be honest, in the middle of July, who wants to go out and knock doors? I know I didn't, but the competitions, Vantage Survivor, I texted Tom last year and I said, man, this couldn't come at a better time. So really use those to help push you to reach your goals. And whatever that goal may be, as far as a number, if you've never done this before, it's kind of hard to gauge, but the whole thing is to use the system that Tom and Shandon, and a lot of people have put in place to help us be successful. So this last one here is 1,000 account rep. So you can see, just going down the list, the hours knocked a day bumps up a little bit. I typically be on the doors at 11. That was my goal. Take the morning to do what you want. I was on the doors at 11. Didn't have a lunch. I was walking around in these like khaki shorts with 8 granola bars just all over. I'd have to go to, Costco and buy in bulk, because if I didn't, I was going to the store every night almost. So in the morning, it was kind of nice because my load would get a little bit lighter every cell. I'd just take a granola bar out and eat it and just kind of go on. So I wasn't swinging everywhere, which was nice. As far as the walking, jogging stuff, I think the idea is just being brisk with what you want to do. Be decisive, don't be that rep. I sat last, so there was a day, Andrew and I were we moved to a new neighborhood, and we were sitting in the car, just kind of deciding what we wanted to do and get a feel for this neighborhood. There were some other trucks and companies that were driving around, and we sat in our car and we watched this rep that would literally, from another company, he would meander up the door, up the sidewalk, shoulders slouched, come up, knock, nothing. He'd go all the way back around. And it was just crazy to me, he had no purpose. It was almost like he was punching the clock. And for me and Andrew, we were both, we were kind of blown away, what's this kid doing? So as far as, have a purpose. People are watching. Before you even knock a door, know where you're going, know why you're there, and be confident in that. People can see in your body language as far as you're walking, jogging, what you're even doing. So that's a big one. As far as the verbiage stuff, same thing. Your pitch. My encouragement would be just memorize the pitch for the first week or two. It's in the book. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. For me, I like this because I can dumb it down. I grew up on a farm. I put in wheel lines and pivots in high school. I don't have a college degree. I don't even have an associate's degree. I'm not smart in any way, but I can read out of the manual. My name's Matt, bug guy, trucks, and spiders, wasps, half off. That's it. So realistically, as long as you have that in there, you can add a little bit of fluff. You can say a few other things. That's it. Who you are. My name is Matt. I'm the bug guy. Wasps, spiders, bees, and whatever bugs that people are seeing. My trucks are here. I'll do it for half off. That's it. Keep it simple. Then this is what I feel really separates Kobe Bryant from every other player in the league. The Steph Currys, the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, whatever sport you want to do, whatever skill, it's going the extra mile. And I feel like when we put forth an effort towards accomplishing something, your increases return exponentially for the extra few hours, the extra little effort. So if a normal day, is 8 hours, those extra 2 hours are going to exponentially, you put in 2 hours worth of time, you're going to get 4 hours worth of energy back. Same thing with Saturdays. First years, my first summer, second summer, I didn't knock a full day. I just didn't. And it was one of those things, let's go start the weekend, let's go home. I mean, you can do that, but at the end of the day, it's your check. You're doing it hopefully you're doing this for yourself. You're not here for any other reason. The Saturdays, you add those up, there's 12 of them, 14 in a summer. 4 hours, you cut it short. I mean, you're looking at 60 less hours. So it does make a big difference. And then the last thing that's huge, and I had a rule for myself that kind of, I think, bugged my wife a little bit, but I didn't answer my phone unless it was work-related. My wife would text me. I'd text her as I could, but she understood too. She understood the goal that I had. And as far as how did I reach 1,000, realistically, I couldn't have done it without her. And it's just a thing that for myself, I want to give her a little shout out as far as the kids and whatnot, because for me, you know, these goals and these things you're going to see as I continue on that these are applicable to really whatever you're doing, and I try and take good care of her. But sometimes during the summer, I think that she gets neglected, but she understands the goal, and so it's a joint effort in order to accomplish that. So as far as the phone, you're going to save yourself, make yourself a lot of money. You're going to lose yourself a lot of money if you're out Facebook doing some of those things. It's just a small thing, but again, small things make a big, big difference. So as far as you can see, these things, the goal of 1,000, like, I'll be honest, in my mind I thought, man, like, I did 600 last year. How the freak am I going to get to 1,000? I honestly didn't know. But this was a texting conversation between Tom back in April of the year before, and you know, we threw it out there. It was one of those things like I had to vocalize it, because at this point the only person that really knew what I wanted to do or my goal was my wife. And she would kind of, you know, she was sweet about it, like she would harness my hopes and be like, well, honey, let's just see how things go, you know. She didn't want to put me down, but I think even she knew that it was going to be a big stretch. And you're going to see here in a minute, like, I thought of every reason in the world of why I couldn't do it. One being having a baby, you know, area. I didn't want to go back to Columbus. I've been there for a few years. And long story short, there's a million excuses as to why you can't do something, but you only need one of why you can. And so for me, I would try and replace that every time with 1,000. This conversation with Tom, I think, is what sealed it. After that, it was something that was out there, and I wanted to make sure I made good on it. So, you know, can I get my own tech? I knew some things needed to happen, and there's a lot that goes into running a branch or an office, and I don't think sometimes as reps we truly understand the efforts. And so, you know, behind closed doors, I mean, the secretaries work tirelessly. Tom, Shandon, it's crazy how much time they put in. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable to me. And as far as this, Adam, you know, on the backside of things, doing the servicing technicians, there's just a lot of moving parts that to do 1,000, or, you know, as far as our offices are concerned, to do, you know, Columbus did 4,400 serviced. There's just a lot that has to happen for that. So everybody was on the same page, and we knew ahead of time what we wanted to do as an office, what our goals were, and we took the necessary actions to make that happen. So as far as the physical things, hopefully that's a checklist that you can kind of see, like physical, tangible, like hours work, that's my schedule, that's what I do. And then as far as the other aspect of it, of the mental side, these are for me personally. I wrote down every excuse that was in my mind as far as why I couldn't hit the goals that I had set for myself. And I'll just read them real quick. Again, I didn't want to go back to Columbus. Just real quick on that, Tom and Shandon literally had to talk me into this. You know, Kelton's smooth, and it's like, yeah, of course he wants me to go back, but it's just not going to fit. I don't want to. Tom and Shannon, you know, talked me back into this, and I'm glad I did. But that one, you know, was a big one. Another one was there's not enough good area. Our city's not that big. Too much competition. There's a few other door-to-door companies there in the city that's not the biggest. You know, come July, you're knocking sometimes the same week, you know, even the same day. There was multiple occasions where there was other reps on the same doors. So that one for me, too much competition. There's too much to do and spread too thin. You know, there's a lot of people that helped, and we all did different things we played our roles to make sure that things happened. Another one, you know, I didn't want to neglect my kids, my wife, just for family time, the baby. I'm tired. You know, the gap between 600 and 1,000, how does that happen? What do I need to do? And then technicians. You know, the same-day spots you're scheduling out pretty far. Sometimes that can be discouraging as a rep. So for me, those are, like, I'm putting you in my mind. Those are all very real. Like, I can't tell you how many times I thought about that. So it was a constant effort to fight those things, and I'm talking rewind the clock before the summer started, going up, leading up to it, I'm talking once the summer actually started, every single day, to wake up, knowing that there weren't same day spots, or, that I was going back to an area that had been talked to, a week or two ago. So throughout the entire process, the point that I'm trying to make is that there's always going to be excuses, there's always going to be obstacles, and sometimes I think that we make these excuses to really, to let ourselves off the hook, so to speak. We don't want to own up to our results, for good or for bad. It's personal accountability as far as to yourself, not even to your managers or whatever, but we make these excuses so that in our minds we don't feel quite so crappy about ourselves, like, man, I'm too tired. No, in fact, I'm just lazy. So that's what it comes down to. So little things as far as like your mindset and the way that you think, these are all things that I had to change. These are just things that go across the board in every office that you're going to see anywhere you go. For how many first year reps are there here? Guys that have never sold. So you're with the best company, I can tell you that much. You're going to be talked to by a lot of people. You're with people that care here. And I hope you feel that from the get-go, but no matter where you're at, what office you're in, these are all going to be things that you're going to deal with. When you get out there, you're going to feel like your manager might not have time for you, might not be able to knock with you right off the bat. And heck, honest truth, nobody knocked with me my first summer. I think Andrew was 2 years in, nobody knocked with him his first or second summer. And it was deliberate. I didn't realize that at the time, but if something's going right, don't mess with it. So your manager, you're gonna want to make that excuse. You're gonna want to make the excuse that, man, there's a lot of bad area. There's not enough good area for everybody. Your manager takes the best area. Or, as far as some of these things, the training, I don't feel like I'm getting the attention I need. The correlations are disorganized. The competition, I put other companies. Some markets have it, some don't, and every market's different. Your car group is lazy. As far as the car group, own up to it. There was a time, as far as a buddy of mine, his car group wanted to go to a movie, great, whatever. It was one of those things, it's like, do what you want. I'm not going to micromanage, but as far as the car group, his buddies went to the movie, he walked to the nearest neighborhood, got 2 sales. To me, that's a pretty cool story. It just shows that he owned his actions. No matter who you're with or what you're doing, it's up to you what you want. And then the last one is family and friend distractions. Just manage who you're around, because it's very easy to be dragged down by people who are negative, or people who don't have the same goals. And it's hard to stay positive and to accomplish what you have for yourself. It's hard enough to fight your own negativity, let alone pull the plow of others. So you need to be careful with who you're around and how much time you spend with them. And that's, again, something that across the board, no matter where you're at, you're going to deal with every single one of these at some point in time. So just make the decision now, ahead of time, that when these things come up, that you're going to overcome it to reach your goals. And then this year is just it's a good visual that I think is important. It shows really what successful individuals go through, and it would be very foolish. Sometimes I hear people, and I'm the first to admit, I say I got so lucky. I'm 25, 2 kids, like things are going great, but at the same time, I want to stay hungry, I want to do these things. But at the same time that I realize I got lucky, I really truly believe that the luckiest people are the people who work the hardest. And I'm not good at a lot of things, but I very rarely will be outworked at something that I want. It's just who I am, and when I put my head down, I do it. So these things here are things that, again, people from the outside looking in don't realize all the negativity below. The hard work, the risk, the late night struggles, the failures, persistence, everything that it takes. And I think that we're all guilty at some point or another. A perfect example, I hear all the time things as far as his ball handling, his drills, so anybody who is good at anything goes through these things. I don't believe that there's, in very rare cases, anybody that's just destined to just, or is given success to just go out and have it without working. But again, this here for me is something that I keep, I look at this pretty regularly, just to help motivate, because there's a lot of negativity that goes around. So these are a few things, that for me made a big difference. And that's Josh's slide, so we'll stop there. But all in all, I guess the takeaway is that I want you to hopefully, whether it's a mindset change, whether it's some of these physical things that you're going to knock an hour longer, you're going to stay out till dark. My goal is for everybody in here to accomplish what they know they can for themselves, and the growth that will occur, because it's amazing to me to think that I actually would take lunches to go get Baconators 2 years ago. But as we reach these goals, I guess the whole point of the goal is, once you accomplish it, or the summer, whatever your goal may be, if you're a first-year rep, you get 200 accounts, that's great. Your money will be spent in a year, at most. So once that's gone, it's the skills that you acquire, who you become, and for me, these things, I really believe that those things will carry on. And so my, I guess, invitation, I just want everybody to make a goal as far as what they feel like they can accomplish. I want you to write it down and hold yourself accountable to that goal. That's all I would ask. Hold yourself accountable. Each of us are going to have different struggles or excuses that we want to make, but write the goal down and look at it every day. And anytime you go through these things, or negativity creeps in, replace it as quick as you can. Look at your goal, whether it's 200, 400, 600, doesn't matter. Whether it's an office goal, as a manager, you want to hit that. Just please do me a favor, write it down. That's all I'd ask. Write it down, and then from there, the necessary steps are up to you. So, honestly, if you have, as far as any other questions, let me know. But sincerely, I hope that you've seen who I am as an individual. Nothing flashy, but these things that I showed you, what I did, that's it. Again, the pitch, there's nothing special that I'm saying. The hours that I'm working, it's not like it's rocket science, so I want you to step up what you feel that you can do, really, reach out there a little bit, put yourself out there and set some lofty goals for yourself, and again, pay the price and be willing to do what it takes to get that. So that's all I've got. Woo.